This video sets out the fifth law of the 7 laws of the learner, which is the law of the need. First, we'll discuss the parable of the bare hook, and then we will see from John 4 how Jesus himself taught the woman at the well. Bruce Wilkinson, the author of the book, experienced the parable of the bare hook when he took his son, David, and his daughter, Jenny, fishing. To fish, you need a fishing rod and you need baits. Fish loves to eat worm, so he brought some worm and asked his kids to put them on the hook. His son David straight away put a worm on, but his daughter Jenny said that she did not want to kill a worm, so she's going to try to catch a fish by using the shiny and beautiful hook. Surely the fish would be attracted to the hook. We can guess what happened. David caught many fish with his worm bait, and Jenny caught none with her shiny, empty hook. To Jenny, the hook was attractive, but to the fish, they are not, since they are not food. So just as fish are not attracted to bare hooks, students are not drawn to bare content. This is the law of the need. If you want your kids to be interested and motivated to learn, you need to stop dropping shiny, empty hooks. We as teachers often become so focused on the beauty of our content and preparation that we forget that our students will avoid it unless we carefully bait them to it. And who is supposed to bait? The fisherman or the fish? Obviously the fisherman, which in this case is us as teachers. As a teacher, I am responsible to help my students chase after my content. So if we have a class that doesn't seem to be motivated to learn, maybe it's because we don't have worm on our hook. So the essence of this law of the need is that teachers must build the students' need before they start teaching the content. Let's now learn from our master teacher, Jesus. Jesus teaches to meet the needs of the listeners. Even when his audience didn't know that they need the lesson, Jesus sought to make them realize their needs. We will go through 5 steps that Jesus used to build the need in his students' heart. In John chapter 4, Jesus met a Samaritan woman at the well. She had come to get water. It's her daily routine. She wasn't interested in Jesus who was sitting there. And this might be similar to the situation that we face in Sunday school. Our kids mostly come because they have to come. But Jesus took advantage of the situation. He knows that in order to teach, you have to cause the listener to learn. So, he worked on causing the woman to be interested first in what he had to say. So how did Jesus do it? First, by capturing the woman's attention. Jesus is a Jew, a Jewish man who is not supposed to talk to a Samaritan woman. His greeting startled her into focusing her attention on him. Once you have the attention, you need to move quickly to the second stage, which is to stir curiosity. When the woman asked Jesus why did he, a Jewish man, ask her, a Samaritan woman, for a drink, Jesus did not answer her. Instead, he stirred her curiosity by talking about the gift of living water. And from the woman's response, we can see that she is now curious about this gift that Jesus is talking about, and she wants to know more. The third step is to arouse a need that is obvious that the student can relate to at that given moment, so that they will think, I want this. Jesus knew the woman would give anything to avoid going out into the heat to get water every day. That is an issue that the woman is thinking about. So Jesus said to her that whoever drinks of the water that I shall give will never thirst again. He used her obvious need to make her consider and want his lesson. The fourth step is to help the student realize what their real needs are. This step is the climax of building the need, and it leads the student to feel, I need this. Jesus ultimately wants to share the gift of salvation to the woman at the well. But the woman probably wasn't thinking about her need for a savior at that moment. So Jesus continued to build her need by asking her to call her husband, which she didn't have at that time. And Jesus revealed that he knows about her situation. So the woman perceived that Jesus was a prophet and wants to know more about worshiping God. The final step is delivering the content of the teaching. Note that the teaching of content should only take place after the student realizes their real need, because then the student will be interested and motivated to learn. With Jesus and the woman at the well, this was when Jesus revealed to her that he is the Messiah. So Jesus spent more time building the need than teaching the lesson. He considered building the need as the first part of the lesson. Building the net is like baiting the hook to catch a fish. You bait the hook before you fish. So in order to know what bait to use for our kids, we need to know their needs. The calling of the shepherd is to meet the need of his sheep. Likewise, the calling of the teacher is to meet the need of his class. So as a teacher, do you know the needs of the children in your class? We need to get to know the needs of the kids in our class so we can teach the Bible in a way that can help them. To close, I want to share a story from Dennis Rainey, the founder of Family Life Ministry. He has been teaching 6th grade Sunday school for many years. This is how Mr. Rainey taught the lesson from 1 Corinthians 15 on how bad friends ruins good moral. The lesson main idea is peer pressure and how we as Christians can stand for the truth despite temptations from other people around us. So he started his lesson by asking 2 kids in the class to do a skit, a drama. The boy will try to influence the girl to steal something from a store, and she will cave in and they both will go and steal something. This is the first step, the capturing attention part. So he asked those 2 kids to go outside the classroom to practice their skit. While those 2 were out, Mr. Rainey briefed the rest of the class on what he wants them to do after they watch the skit later. He said he will give them a chance to vote on whether the girl should have followed her friend and steal, or whether she should have said no. But there's a catch. Mr. Rainey wants the kids to vote the wrong way. He wants them to say that yes, the girl should go with her friend and steal. This is the second step to stir curiosity in your student. Because by now the kids in the class would be wondering, why on earth does he want us to vote the wrong way? When the 2 kids come back into the class, they did their skit, the drama of stealing. And then the time came to vote. Mr. Rainey asked, those who agree that the girl did the right thing in following her friend to steal, stand up. And those that disagree, remain seated. This is a class of 60 kids. It's a big class. All 58 kids stood up. Only the 2 who were playing the skit stayed seated. Remember that these 2 didn't know that they were supposed to vote the wrong way. So the boy and the girl were confused at first as to why all their classmates are saying the girl was right to have stolen something. But then something interesting happened in the class. After a few seconds of looking at all their 58 friends standing up, these 2 also stood up. Now it's the 58 kids' turn to get confused. Why did those 2 kids, who were not told that they had to vote wrong, also stood up? This covers the third and fourth step of arousing a need. making them consider maybe they do want and need a lesson on this peer pressure thing. So after they all sat down, Mr. Rainey began the lesson, delivering his content on how bad company ruins good moral. And you can bet all the kids were paying attention to him. So I'll say this again. The key to the law of the need, the essence, is that we as teachers need to build the need of the student before we can teach them the lesson.